I know my own needs. And what I need from an automobile, I know I get from this new Cordoba. I could ask for nothing beyond the quality of Cordoba's workmanship, the tastefulness of its appearance. I request nothing beyond the thickly cushioned luxury of seats available even in soft Corinthian leather. Yet it is on the highway where Cordoba best answers my demands. I have much more in this small Chrysler than great comfort at a most pleasant price. I have great confidence, for which there can be no price. In Cordoba, I have what I need.
Good evening. Cordoba. Welcome to the Wednesday Night Mouse Party. Let me get my ticker going, because I always forget to do that. So if you've got suggestions, Gorn, or want to send me a comment, you can send it at untacticalfoss.com. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
If I want to send you a comment, can I just say it?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. I'm special, folks.
No, you gotta type it out and send it to him.
All right, Clock Boy.
But tonight we've got Baron. How are you doing tonight, Baron?
Doing good. Memory's doing good. In fact, this will be the first week we remember to say, if you like the video, please hit the thumbs up button. And if you're watching after we're live, go ahead and leave a comment.
There you go.
It only took us a year.
Well, I've got on the wall right here where I can see it and I look at it all the time, a list of stuff that I'm supposed to do. The banner, please like and comment, poll questions, and I always forget to do that. Even though I'm looking at it, I blank it out. No. But Guns of Barbecue, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself? Sounds like somebody was just getting you a copyright strike there.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize I was unmuted.
Appreciate the invite.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for showing up. G-Webs.
Absolutely.
We just came off the tactical quiz, which Barbecue won. How you doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for the invite. What'd you think of the format of that one?
I'm slow on the computer, so I'm at a disadvantage. Well, I guess Barbecue's blind, so he has the biggest disadvantage. But
yeah, don't ask me how the heck I won that.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Are we sure he's blind?
I don't know. There's people that don't think that.
Patriot in the Dark?
No. Singer. Stevie Wonder. That Stevie Wonder isn't blind. And I saw a video where I think it was We Are the World, where everybody's standing together. Somebody knocks over a mic stand and he grabs it before it hits the ground. Yeah. And Shaq has told a story about, because they used to live in the same apartment building. But since it's Shaq, you never know if he's serious or not. But there's other people, that don't think he's blind either. And he goes to Lakers games, basketball games. So I don't know.
Yeah, but like you get to hear the horns whenever somebody makes a basket. You get to hear the lights. That was supposed to be funny, folks. Laugh. Tough crowd.
Yeah. Moving on. G23. How are you doing tonight?
Not bad, I guess. Thanks for the invite.
Are you going to make it? Guess not.
Oh, I'll probably be awake now.
Well, thanks
Your
for
very
showing
first
up.
mouse party.
All righty. So I put up a poll this week, and let me share that poll since I figure out what I'm doing here. Share that screen. Click on that. Click on that, and then do that. So I put up a poll. What type of vehicle do you drive? Car, truck, SUV, motorcycle, or other? Leave a comment. 36% out of the, how many people? 77 votes. So 36% said truck.
Wow.
35% said car. 18% said SUV. 3% said motorcycle. And 8% other. And I know there's no van category, but I only have so many choices I can put in there. But we'll look at some of the comments. TPC Cook said minivan, the ultimate handicap passenger ride. DJ said car, but he has a truck and a motorcycle. I'm looking forward to getting the bike. I think he has a scrambler style motorcycle.
So I think a 68 Honda, if I remember correctly.
Is TCP Cook's handicap?
His mother.
Yes.
Caucasian Sasquatch says sometimes he rides a mountain lion hopped up on Pixie Sticks and Mountain Dew. Ride the lion.
Is that with a bald eagle perched on your arm? Because I feel like that would just complete the whole picture there. That's incredible.
TJ Mars says,
From a movie.
I like my truck. I can bring it hunting and haul whatever my dog and a bag. That if I want to go camping, we can just sleep in the bed of the truck. Snark and Sass says Flip Flop Express. G Webs is complaining there's no van section. Tara says
It's your typical vehicleist list without any real vehicles on it, just the fancy vehicles, the mainstream vehicle.
And I'm going to say good night to Caucasian Sasquatch real quick.
Good night.
He's here,
Sasquatch.
but he's going to be going. But let's see. 2A We Stand said motorcycle also. Mike White says Toyota Venza. And I'm sorry to tell you, Mike White, that in Japanese, Venza means toilet seat. I'm being honest. It means
Awesome.
Does a toilet seat in Japan drive around though?
No, but it'll shoot water up your butt.
So it's a fancy one.
Iron Road says truck and SUV, and Sergeant Joe Smith says I got it. Got car and few trucks.
A few trucks. Wow. He's broke or very rich right now.
So thank you to everybody who participated in the quiz. Those are normally put out on Tuesdays. I put out a quiz. But let me run through the side chat.
A quiz or a poll?
Poll. I put a poll out there. Sometimes it's a quizzical poll. DJ Play Nice, who was in here for a hot second and ran away.
Scared him off.
Caucasian Sasquatch, who I believe went to bed. G23 is out there and in here and everywhere. Gun websites also. X Adam 1. He's asking, should I upgrade my P365 XL with black Icarus aluminum frame, hold out a bit, and buy the P322? You have an Icarus frame, don't you, G23?
No, I've been contemplating getting it for the wife.
I would think about it.
Whichever
Getting the
one's more
aluminum frame.
expensive, do that. Keep the economy
Actually,
going.
Instead of getting Icarus, I would probably get the. Well, for her, I would probably get the AXG because you can change out the G10 grips, but right now they don't offer like an AXG for the 365, so that wouldn't work for X Atom 1.
PNW Woods. Gizzard Gary. Rest up, Gizzard Gary. Woods is saying he has a Silverado and a Wrangler. Gunmetal Guy USA. Yes.
My question is how many of those SUV people are actually crossover people claiming to be SUV people?
True story.
Well, don't know. It's all kind of getting muddled around now because it used to be Utes, utility vehicles, and then it became sport utility vehicles. And so, what's in a name?
I have a 2005 Silverado 2500 HD.
You probably don't put many miles on it, do you?
No, my dad's running it into the ground. It kind of annoys the crap out of me. I also have a 1984 Yamaha Venture.
Ooh.
Yes. Again, no miles being put on that. Wish I could find a buyer for it.
How much you want?
Well, the title's lost because my uncle sucks. So, I would like to get $500 out of it, which, I mean, it's a $1,200 bike all day. You just have to go and get an enhanced inspection done here in PA to get a new title, or...
well, you can apply for a lost title, can't you?
Nope, because my uncle bought it from a lady over in Ohio. Then he came back here with it, and the lady mailed him the title because the notary wasn't open then. He rode the bike home, all that fun jazz. And when he got home, his girlfriend's like, "I'm not riding that with you." So he just left it in the basement, which, I mean, it was a dry basement, all that. But he left it down there and never transferred the title into his name. Then we did a horse trade, and 2 months after the horse trade, not even a month and a half after the horse trade, I lost my vision. And so I'm stuck with the bike. And then I was like, hey, I need to get rid of this thing. So you got the title? And now he can't find the title, and he never transferred it into his name in the first place. So I heard about this thing called Vermonting, where apparently you have a clean VIN and you send in a bill of sale to Vermont, and they'll send you a title or some crap. Then you just wait a couple months, and then you go and do everything into your name in your home state, which is like, well, that's interesting. Seems really shady, but a bunch of people around here are doing it, which is kind of cool. So there's that, or you have to go get an enhanced inspection done, which is just a giant crock of crap with the state, and then they'll just issue a new title for it, which I was like, good God. So.
Yeah, I had back a long time ago when I was on the XS forum for XS 750s and 850s.
Yes.
I remember they were talking about something like that to try and get a title. I don't know if I would ever do it, but yeah.
Yeah, I know several people that have done it, and now they're riding their bikes around with the titles in their name, good to go. I'm like, oh, cool.
I've had to do that once, but we don't have inspections here, so it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, my big smoker trailer, I'm still fighting with the state almost 4 years later to get the title for that. And now they're telling me I have to go get an entirely new enhanced inspection done because it's been so long. Technically, after a year, they're not supposed to, or I'm supposed to get a new enhanced inspection done. I was like, but you say I have a year to get this stuff fixed. I get the stuff fixed, and then you tell me that something else is wrong. So then I go and get that fixed, which I have a year to do. and then you tell me that something else is wrong. As like, if I was told all this stuff at once, I could get it all done at once and have everything taken care of. I was like, so the fact that it's taken 3 years, going on 4 years now, is the fault of you guys.
Are you indicating that government doesn't work efficiently?
Well, the worst part is they refuse to give me the title. They say now nothing's wrong with it, and that the original things that they told me were wrong with it weren't actually even wrong with it in the first place. But I'm going to have to go spend $300 to have a new enhanced inspection done. Or I could just get a title for a trailer that's falling apart from my cousin and slap the plate on my smoker. And nobody would ever be the wiser. At this point, that would be a much cheaper option. So,
DJ is saying here inspections are only required on vehicles previously registered in a different state.
well, that's the other thing about my smoker is some trailers in Pennsylvania have to be inspected annually. Like if you're going to be hauling cars on it, and even then it's got to be a certain size and weight and everything else. My smoker trailer will never have to be inspected. I'm like, so what does it matter if it's been sitting 1 year or 12 years or anything else? Well, we don't know what it's like now. It could have just rusted away. I'm like, rusted away in 3 years? I was like, but again, it's a $7,000 smoker that I intended to make money with. You think I'm just going to let that rust into the ground? That makes a lot of sense.
Squibload is out there. He says inspections. Yeah, there used to be. I know there used to be some inspections, like a yearly inspection to check emissions in some counties in Washington. I don't know if they're still doing it. I've never lived in a county where they did that. And if you failed, you could either fix the problem and then get re-inspected, or take it to a mechanic. And then I can't remember what dollar amount it was, but if you had a certain amount of work done, and then show them the receipt, then you could pass inspection. I had a friend that he would go to the mechanic when he would fail and just say, "I don't care what you do, just bill me this much money."
Put
And
in a
then
stereo.
Yeah. Then he would take that receipt and then show it to the county.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm guessing it'd be King County. Just a hunch.
I don't, because he. I don't think so, because I don't think he ever lived in King County.
Pierce?
I can't. I think it was Spokane.
Oh, really? That's
But I mean, this is 30 years ago, at least. So I don't quite remember the details.
Don't you mean Spokane?
Yeah. For those who don't know, Spokane, Washington is spelled Spokane, but it's pronounced Spokane, not Spokane.
I thought it was Spokane.
Parts of it, yes. So that's what Woods is saying, Spokampton. Yeah, after last week's chat, I was thinking about cars. That's kind of why I put out the poll on cars, and I was thinking about car chases, car chase movies. I think the two of the best car chase movies there have been is the original Gone in 60 Seconds, the one from '74. It's a B movie, but half the movie is a car chase, and it's probably one of the best car chases ever filmed. And the other is Ronin, the movie with De Niro.
Yep.
That has an awesome car chase in it. DJ saying Bullet. I don't know. The Bullet car chase, everybody talks about it being great, and it's okay. You know, it's on a hill. You know, that's the big thing. So
Come
there,
on. It's got to be Dukes or Smokey and the Bandit.
yeah, well, there's no single car chase. The whole movie is a car chase. If for movies, yes, awesome. I'll say yes. We'll put that in the car chase movie category, but there's no single car chase that kind of stands out. And some people might say, God, what was that one with the CUDA? Or not CUDA, the Challenger.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
No, that's a
GT.
Mustang. Vanishing Point, yeah. The original Vanishing Point.
So, while this wasn't a chase in a movie, I do really like the scene in Heat where they're robbing the bank and that all gets spoiled. And they come out and have that massive shootout with the cops.
Yeah, that didn't go very well for the driver, did it?
No.
The Heat is probably one of the most realistic sound-wise. If you listen to the gunfire, I think, to me, the way the guns sound is the most realistic. That crack,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the scene where, kind of at the beginning, I think it's at the beginning. It's been a while since I've seen it with the armored car.
Oh, yes.
And he's yelling at the guards, and the other dude's like, hey, they can't hear you. They're deaf now.
There's blood coming out of their ears.
The Italian Job, yep. The original one with the original minis. I like the remake. I thought they did a good job.
Is it Lethal Weapon 4 where Riggs is on the motorcycle or no, is that number 2 where he's on the motorcycle and like goes through the shopping mall or something and comes out and
Who's the bad guy in it?
I don't remember who he was chasing is the problem. I feel like it might have been number 2 where he's chasing the diplomat. I'm kind of mad at myself for not knowing this better because I mean, Lethal Weapon series, one of my all-time favorite series.
DJ saying the French Connection. Blues Brothers. Going under the L's and Chicago.
Just Till Dawn.
I don't remember the car chase. I just remember the
chasing them?
brothel, the
Yeah.
strip club. Didn't the whole movie just take place in the strip club? That's all I remember.
Oh, what was it?
Well,
That
The RV heading to the Mexican border. There was a car chase, and they blew the Mexican border.
Yeah, it's not ringing a bell. I just remember the strip joint.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers the trip joint.
Yeah, I got nothing.
What was that movie where that guy led cops on a high-speed chase? I think he was driving like a white Bronco or something.
That was real life. A slow speed chase.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, they did do a documentary, so it was actually.
Well, he only was driving like 40 miles an hour, so it's more of a following than a chase.
DJ brought up a good one. Death Proof.
Death Proof.
Kurt Russell
Yeah.
and a bunch of ladies.
The Grindhouse movie.
Oh, I like in the Pirates of the Caribbean where the boats chase each other. That's pretty cool.
Mad Max.
We're not talking about boats. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're talking about pirate movies when you haven't even said Mad Max. Come on.
Yeah, DJ was asking that.
I've actually never seen Mad Max.
Have you seen Road Warrior?
I think so. Wait,
You mean you think so?
No, maybe I have seen Mad Max.
That's the one with the Road Warrior. Is the one with the kid has the boomerang that's made out of a
Yeah.
blade, and then there's
Mad
like
Max was the
crazy
first movie,
punks.
and
Yeah,
Road Warriors was the second.
I think
Everybody's seen Road Warrior.
Yeah, I think I've seen both of those, but I was very young.
No, then
Yeah,
you
the first
didn't.
one's the
Nobody's
motorcycle
seen Mad
gang,
Max.
right?
Yeah. Yep, they've got Toe Cutter. He rides a Kawasaki. Was it 1000? I think it was a 1000.
Mad Max was made back when movies were still about cars, because that's all there was cars, and it was cool, and no one's seen it. And all the cars were crazy European or whatever they are, Australian or something, so they were weird. But they were muscle cars instead of just being stupid cars. And it was Mad Max. And everybody's seen Road Warrior first, so no one even knew about Mad Max. I don't think you can have any appreciation for Mad Max if you're new. You know what I mean? Like, you had to live through that and then be like, wait a minute, there's a first movie? I mean, that was a whole thing. Either being told or telling your friends, like, oh, there's a first one. What? And then you go watch that first one and you're blown away because it's like a low budget, even better Road Warrior. And then they come out with the bullshit little garbage Thunderdome crap. And then they ruined it completely. So unless you lived through the amazement of Road Warrior and then the thrill of learning about Mad Max and then the disappointment and then the life lesson of nothing can be good forever of Thunderdome and the garbage that came after, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody else is just like, there's a series of 4 movies and 2 of them are bad. Like, they're never going to know what it's like to live through. You're waiting forever for movies they didn't even know they exist, and then Easter eggs, and then disappointment.
Yeah, Mad Max is his origin story.
Does the car heist in the first Fast and Furious at the end where they're trying to steal a bunch of stuff out of that semi count as a car chase?
No, those are Matchbox
never
car movies.
I've never seen any of the Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious
What
is
about-
like when you got a bunch of kids that are playing Matchbox cars, and some kid drank like 6 juice boxes and like ate 100 candy bars, and then is like, let me play cars. That's Fast and Furious.
What about
You were saying
Jeepers
something?
Creep?
Oh,
What's that?
I was going to say G23. Go ahead.
Jeepers Creepers?
There's a chase scene in that? Are you talking about when
At the
the
beginning.
thing like rams him and stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, he like chases down his victims, like, and hits them with his vehicle. That's still considered a chase scene.
You remember why he does that, right? He wants to smell their fear, wasn't it?
Yep. Like, of all the scary movies that have been made recently or anything, it like last 2 decades or something like that, I think Jeepers Creepers is the best.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, if you're into movies that you're supposed to be creepy, stuff like that, you should definitely check out Jeepers Creepers. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah, just watch the first one.
The second one wasn't bad, but like most sequels, And then they made a third one. That one, again, is all right, but it was to the second what the second is to the first. So that should tell you how bad the third is.
I don't really recall chase scene in Maximum Overdrive. Most of it takes place at the diner.
What about the chase scene in Rambo?
Yeah, where he's on the motorcycle and he's being chased by the cop. Yeah. Yeah, all the movies that I'm going to reference are like 70s and 80s movies. I'm stuck in the past.
Have you seen Death Proof? The Grindhouse?
I have, yes. I liked it. I haven't seen the other movies, the other Grindhouse movies.
Yeah, that's the best one in my opinion. It's a low bar.
Oh yeah, the one where he's a professional driver.
Yeah.
What's that one called? Transporter. Those movies are good. Those are super good, actually. All of them are good.
Yeah, Sergeant Joe Smith was talking about the BMW James Bond. I know which one he's talking about, and it was good, but it went a little too far. Got a little too goofy during the chase, I thought. Does anybody else remember? Because I think it's the one where they're on ice. Is the one
He jumps a shark. That one?
No, that was Fonzie. No, it does like a barrel roll jump on ice, and
Yeah, was that Die Another Day or?
I don't remember which one it was, but I remember pretty sure I remember the chase that he's talking about. The DJ saying the Terminator chase with the Harley. Yeah, that's not bad. It's when you see the making of it's. To me, it diminishes the chase when you see how they did it and how slow it is. So don't ever watch the behind the scenes making of.
Yeah. Never ask how a magic trick is done. Ruins the effect.
It does. But I always still want to know.
Yes.
I don't remember if there was a chase scene, but I think there was in House of a Thousand Corpses.
I think so.
Haven't seen it.
I'm pretty sure. But then they end up at a roadblock and then they get annihilated.
That was Devil's Rejects.
Or yeah, it was Devil's Rejects.
DJ is bringing up Death Race 2000. I wouldn't really put that in because it's a race, not a chase. There's not really a chase scene.
That'd be like say Cannonball with a chase scene.
How about Dirty Harry 3? I think it was the third one.
Yes.
Where he's getting chased by that RC car with explosives. Do you remember this?
Deadpool? That's in Deadpool, isn't it?
I think it was in Deadpool. That might have been the fourth.
What about the other guys?
To answer DJ real quick, yes, he played Frankenstein. He was the driver. Driver X is from Speed Racer. How's it going, Woods? How you doing
Hey,
tonight?
did you guys bring up the movie
That would-
Driver?
That would
So
be
Spielberg's
Racer.
first movie, where it's that dude with the scamp that's being chased by the big rig, who's trying to kill him. And the entire movie, Duel.
Duel.
Yeah, Duel.
No, we haven't. I
That's
was
the entire movie.
thinking
Is a
about
car
that.
chase.
I would put that. Yes, I would put that in the car chase. He's driving a Valiant, so he's not getting away very fast.
And it's overheating over time, and like he's like just trying to make it up the hill, and then he coasts down that other hill, and at the end of the movie, spoiler, it's like 40 years old now. He wins, but he's just in the middle of the desert now.
Yeah, it's he wins. The truck drives over the cliff and explodes, and
Yeah. But then he's probably going to die of heat because he's in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
So you guys are talking about movies with car chases? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's just kind of what we started with. Just because I was thinking about it after the last chat. I was thinking about car chases. And I would, if you like chase movies, I say watch that original Gone in 60 Seconds. The acting is terrible, the plot is terrible, but the chase scene is awesome.
Who's in the original one?
Nobody you've probably ever heard of.
No, I've seen it. I just can't remember
No.
who's in.
The guy, Hibiki, I forget his name. He's a stuntman, and when it was made, it held the record for most destroyed cars. Which the Blues Brothers, I think, when Blues Brothers came out, they took the record over.
Does the chase scene in Cowboy Way, where they jump on the NYPD horses and then chase down the subway, count? I feel like that should count.
Never heard of it.
Oh my gosh.
I
Kiefer
just
Sutherland
remembered
and Woody Harrelson.
We were supposed to plug two things tonight.
Oh gosh. Yes. So here, let me full screen myself here for a second, so I can use this and cut a promo out of it. But this is DM Foss, and this is the way all my filming goes. It's lots and lots of takes. So let me try this again. This is DM Foss, and I've got a friend, Sharon Hinchcliffe, who's she's a 2A activist, and she's doing a project where she's looking for stories about self-defense shootings that involve more than 10 rounds, somebody who defended themselves with more than 10 rounds. So if you are aware of any stories, please send them to her. She's collecting data at sharon.hinchcliffe@yahoo.com. There's a link, or the email's in the description. So if you're aware of any stories involving somebody using more than 10 rounds or more in a self-defense shooting, please send them to her. And
What about-
scene.
And the second plug was for Tara Smith's Kitchen. She got in a motorcycle wreck, and she's not doing. What's going on with DJ in the side chat?
Who? What?
Never mind. She got in a motorcycle wreck, and she could use NA support.
Can you look up her Patreon?
I can try, but even she didn't know what her Patreon was.
I'm a
So,
patron
I
of
think-
hers. I can probably work on that.
Of Sharon?
No.
Tara.
Oh,
Tara Smith's Kitchen, because she got in the motorcycle wreck.
But I am posting her channel link.
What about the car chase scene in Back to the Future when Marty's running from the Libyans?
Is that where he wrecks into the tree? And in further movies, it's called Lone Pine, and originally it was Twin Pines.
So there's her Patreon channel
When he goes back in time, yes.
or page, and here's her GoFundMe.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, she was doing one because she needed a stove. Her stove had died, and she does half of her content is cooking. But she's you could probably donate to the GoFundMe, and then she can use that to help her out until she gets healed up. Because I think she's still got a few weeks before she can start driving. She's a truck driver, so she's going to still be out of work for at least a few more weeks. And while I'm thinking about it, looking at my show notes, the in the description, there's also a link for the overnight Discord, place where we just kind of hang out, chit chat, meme, whatever, have fun.
And
Nice.
there's the link for people that are watching.
Ooh.
So I sent you Gorn, but you'll have to get it off your cell phone.
Did you text it or
That
email?
was a while ago. It was a text.
I didn't get it.
Yeah, it was a few days ago before I released the video of my.
Oh, yeah,
my
yeah,
newest-
yeah. I thought you meant you sent it just now. Yeah, I'll get that. I'll get that called up here in just a second. So, what are your guys' favorite cars from TV shows? Like the A-Team van?
That's a
The
pretty good
Impala
one.
from the show Supernatural that has its own episode called Baby.
Speak of the Devil. How's it going, Sharon?
Evening, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, loud and
Yes.
clear.
It's good. It's good.
I just cut a promo for your asking people to send stories of self-defense with 10 rounds or more. Why don't you give a quick rundown of what you got going on?
Pretty much what I'm looking for are any stories that people have, news articles, preferably news articles. Many people know there are certain individuals who have said that civilians don't need more than 10 rounds, you should be fine. And I've been a huge proponent that no, what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander, meaning that if law enforcement has more than 10 rounds, then the civilian should have it. Military has it, then civilian should have it. And if I can show proof of individuals using more than 10 rounds to save their lives, I will be able to get them to see an error in their particular ways, and they will support the removal of the magazine bans nationwide.
So there's two of them that actually come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Texas,
Mm-hmm.
the Air Force guy who went into the church shooting.
The
and he should
Sutherland
never
Church,
have had.
yes.
Stephen
Yeah.
Williford.
Yes.
And
That's a good one.
So, they ended up chasing him down, and there was multiple shots. I think they say that there was like 20 or 25 shots that were fired in that shooting.
But was that
And the
by
self-defense?
Mr. Wolford, or was that combined?
No, that was the guy who jumped in the truck and started chasing him down.
Okay.
He said that he fired like around 20 or 25 rounds out of his AR before they finally disabled the vehicle.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to look up definitely to get that information because that's a good one.
You're still talking about the Stephen Williford chase, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
And-
gonna say because I thought all the shooting happened at the church.
No,
then the guy.
it didn't. There was some shooting that happened afterwards. So, if it's confirmed that that Mr. Williford and the other gentleman both used more than 10 rounds in defense into stopping him, stopping the guy who should have been never allowed to have purchased a firearm, then that's a good one. I know there was another one of a
It's just
young
Steve,
man.
though. The guy that was driving didn't have one. That's
Yeah.
misunderstanding. But you're saying that the driver witnessed that he used something like 25 rounds or whatever.
Yeah, so that's something that we definitely need to. That's a good one, and we'll use that for that. And I know there was another one of a young man. I think he was 15 or 16. Used his parent. I can't remember if it was an AK or an AR. If it was an AK-47 or an AR-15. If he had the. And this was the one where the 3 were killed, and the grandfather came out and said, "Oh, they didn't have to do that." It's like, well, you got 3 people going after him. You never know. So it's that particular one. I got to try to remember where to find. It's sometimes it's difficult on finding all the articles after the fact, and running through those through Web Archive to save them, so you don't lose the links and things like that. So that's the reason why I'm looking for these articles, and if people could send them to me, I'd really appreciate it. And this will be probably one of the last things that I'm really working on before I'm completely tapped out with everything. So just to get this part done, because if I can show this will be a good build for going forward with a lot of things against the fight here in Washington State, as well as in New Jersey and Connecticut, New York, and also in California, because honestly, I don't trust the courts. The courts are a last ditch, but we can't be dependent upon the courts to stop bad laws. We actually have to stop those at the legislature and in the voting boxes. So that's where that matters.
And I put Sharon's email in the side chat, and once again, it's also in the description of this video.
There was another one where I don't remember how many rounds were fired, but it was a guy who was in his like mid 50s or 60s who defended his house from being broken in by like 3 or 4 people, and they were armed, and he chased them out with an AR and unloaded a mag, and was in the midst of changing, like doing a mag change when police got on the scene.
Yeah, it's stuff like that we really need to do it. And for people who are interested, going through archive.org allows you to save a news article. It's a snapshot at that particular time. And it's a great way to document and record a time frame of what is written in that article. And the most recent ones where people can see what's going on with this and why they're so valuable is the doxing of libs of TikTok, where the Washington Post reporter and the Washington Post were exposed that they changed and they edited the article. And if you get a snippet of what it looks like, and that's what archive.org does, is it takes a snapshot of what's going on at the time, of what was written at the time. And so if it happens later on that the article is changed, you've got a copy of what was originally written. And Steckenhammer, I think I butchered the pronunciation of that.
Styx Hexenhammer.
Thank you.
666.
He's the one who really shows a lot of the stuff. So when he's doing commentary on news articles, he uses archive.org extensively for that reason. Because, yes, you will have articles that get updated and changed and things like that. While that's good, lots of times you will have articles that get changed where the story all of a sudden changes, and there may not be any editorial, as there should be if there's proper editorial ethics, that are not getting done. They're not, what's the word I'm thinking of? They're not documenting like, oh, we're changing it because of this. You do have a few journalists who will do that, and that's following your standard journalism ethics. So that's where that comes from.
Let me just say real quick, hello to the goddamn bacon and Mike McClune. Good evening.
Yes, Washington State. I don't know if you've been summoned, but it's been interesting, to say the least, with everything that's been going on.
Yeah, he's in Washington also.
Oh, cool. Good. Good to know. And we're starting to see, for Washington State, we're starting to see some really good candidates coming up in the fight against the Democratic leadership and the Democratic legislators who slammed all that gun control bills through. So there's some really good ones. And I know somebody's actually running up against the Speaker of the House, Lori Jenkins. And hopefully we can get him elected and her out. So
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Definitely fingers crossed. So
oh, yeah, we were just talking about the car chase movies, cars, cool cars from 80s TV shows.
Oh God, my other half has been rewatching Miami Vice lately. The music's been a great flashback.
Yeah.
And a lot of fun to listen to that. So, but now those are stories. I grew up with, so those who aren't aware, I grew up as a daughter of a Fed. And we were going to a conference in Santa Fe, or in Albuquerque, outside of Santa Fe. And so we're in the middle of nowhere. By that, I mean we're in the middle of the Navajo Indian Reservation. And this is in the mid-80s. And my sibling and I are like, turn on the sirens. Come on, Dad, turn on the sirens. So he thinks there's nobody around, and he proceeds to turn on the sirens. Well, as an FBI agent, he has the state radio, he has the FBI's radio, and then he has another radio. The next thing we hear is like, all right, who turned on the sirens coming over the radio? And we proceeded to get into trouble for that. It's like, whoops, sorry, Dad.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I went back, checked out the Stephen Williford shoot, and I went and watched his interview with Riding Shotgun with Charlie again. After the shooter had exited the church and gotten in his vehicle, Stephen fired 2 more shots. At that point, when they began chasing him, no shots were ever fired again.
Okay, good to know. But did Stephen actually fire more than 10 rounds I know with
He
the AR,
doesn't-
he doesn't remember.
Yeah, he doesn't remember because he said even when he got in the gentleman's truck that helped pursue this individual, he then ejected his magazine because he did not know how many rounds he had loaded in the first place and how many he had left. At which point he found that he still had 2 rounds left.
But he wasn't sure of how many he had loaded in to begin with.
Yes,
Yeah.
You'd think it'd be in the police report, right?
you would think.
You would think, but when speaking of the whole thing with Miami, the Miami shootout, they don't know how many rounds were shot. Not even with that. The agents and everything else do not remember how many rounds were shot. They have no idea. And they think it was upwards of 140 for that event. But they don't know. And
You'd think the casings would still be there.
they weren't. And there's a really good book on this. Let me see if I can find it.
I mean, in the church shooting.
And the church shooting? Yeah, but who shot what? That's going to be, because didn't they both have an AR?
No, I think the details where the guy had one, but he didn't bring it in.
Okay.
But I'm not saying I remember everything like that with detail either.
Yeah.
From what I looked up, the church shooter fired 700 rounds in the church.
Wow.
So I'm thinking he had the AR.
Yeah. That's a lot of ammo.
Wait, 700 rounds. Which one is that?
The Sutherland church shooter?
Oh, okay. I
It
didn't hear
doesn't
that.
even
Holy cow.
sound real.
Yeah,
It's-
that's
How long that takes you? Like all afternoon at a range.
Yeah.
That would take 2 days in a training
maybe.
class.
Is it
It's
possibly a
like
typo and actually 70?
That could be it. I could see that more likely.
Yeah, I mean you're talking 2 1/3 magazines at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They found 15 empty 30-round mags in the church.
How the heck
And he
did he
had
even carry
handguns.
them in on himself?
I don't know. Maybe he had a duffel bag.
He might have.
I'm just going off what I read.
Well, with a vest, like either plate carrier or whatever, you'd only need 7 of the double stacked mag holders.
Still, let's say if it's 15 mags, 30 rounds each, you're only talking what 450 rounds then,
Mm-hmm.
which is a far cry from 7. I mean, that's still a ton, but that's a far cry from 7.
Yeah.
Authorities stated Kelly fired approximately 700 rounds during the 11-minute long shooting.
Wow.
So he was running over 100 rounds a minute. So
That's really surprising because
well, not 100 rounds a minute, but
when did I read that book?
so he was firing around a second plus reloading, which if every magazine was 15 rounds,
30 rounds.
or that's what I meant. That would have been 23 1/3 magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And still, that's a shot every second for 11 minutes. And, well, 23 mag changes.
Not possible.
Unless he had more than one gun.
Even still,
three.
To pull the trigger at that rate of speed for that long,
Yeah.
I feel like granted, I'm not some
That's
super amazing shooter.
That's 1/7 the effective lifespan of an AR-15 barrel. In 11 minutes, I guess it's possible, but
Yeah,
not
he wasn't
in a scenario like
target
that.
shooting. He was just firing at everyone.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it keyholes.
Well, I guess there's one thing
In that case, it's not even possible to hold a thing that would be so hot it'd melt. I mean, look what happened in 2 or 3 minutes of rapid fire in a controlled situation where they want the thing, to film what happens. It's not going to melt the barrel, but it's not going to. It's a unrealistic number. We should be questioning that.
Definitely.
If the guy really did, the only way I could really see dispelling that many rounds that quickly would probably be bump firing.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't sound like that they had one of those around.
That's like saying, oh, well, no problem. You just got to pop a wheelie for 700 miles. I mean, it's a thing that can be said, but that doesn't mean it can be accomplished by real physics.
Yeah, but because I'm thinking of real physics too, firing 700 rounds in 11 minutes, I feel like my trigger finger would start to lock out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what about a binary trigger or an echo trigger?
That would have been all over.
None of that thing is perfect, and none of those things work as this theory that they just work perfectly for 11 minutes. Most of them can barely run one mag, let alone everything flawless for 11 minutes. There's no way you could even practice to get that good. The people that own these companies aren't that good at them.
Plus, if that was the case, that would have been plastered all over the news like the friggin' bump stocks when Vegas happened.
Definitely. So there's really does sound questions on that particular one of what's going on. So, Dan, the link that I sent you is actually written by, so this is on the FBI Miami firefight. This is a first-person account of one of the agents who was there during the firefight, the bank robbers, and this is where he talks about what happened up to that point. He talks about how fate will just change something that goes on and that you have no control of what's happened. The fact that if anybody really wants to go into the response of what happened during this and everything leading up to the event, what was happening during that event, and then the subsequent recovery, it's a good read. And he has photos from the crime scene and everything that was going on. And he talks about where just with all the gunfire that was going on, he couldn't hear anything. He actually had lost his hearing, the one agent, during the event. Possibly due to the decibels, possibly just due to the adrenaline. But it's well worth, it's a good book to read.
And I put that out in the side chat for everybody.
And it's so you're talking about car chases. They're chasing the two bank robbers that were involved with this. So this feeds into 80s car chases on the whole thing, because it was in 1986 that this happened in Miami. And they talk about how they had to drive during rush hour traffic in Miami to catch up, because they weren't sure exactly where these guys were supposed to be during this. So it's a definite good read.
And that's that incident is what led to the 10 millimeter,
Yes, it
the
was.
best millimeter.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And then also led to the popularity of the 40 because the 10 millimeter was too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 40 turned out to be too much for the FBI. So it led to the popularity of the 9 millimeter.
Yep. So the 40 was too snappy for the female agents to be able to qualify for, is what my understanding of it was. And me personally, I prefer to shoot a 10 over a 40. For some reason, I find the 10 to be less snappy than the 40.
They're bigger guns. That helps.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's probably one of the reasons why. So, but yeah, one of the two agents who died during that event had gone through the academy with my father. So that was not a good day for him when that happened. Not a good day on that, but it was something that it was a risk that they knew once he became an agent and everything. So
Oh, there it is. Just looking for here that I'll share. There we go. For those who might not be familiar with the 10 millimeter, this is what it's like when you shoot a 10 millimeter. That's why it's the best millimeter.
mm-hmm.
Oh, this is terrific.
But let me show.
Are you sure that was a 10 millimeter, not a 460 Roland?
This
Clearly
is
44 mag.
This is the Gorn that G23 sent in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your SIG?
6-hour SP 2022 chambered in 40 caliber.
You had me until 40 caliber.
That's when I went looking for my first handgun, I was going to choose either the 2022 or the H&K P30, and the P30 was the one that I could get. So that's the one I got.
No, I'm a CZ fan. Sorry, guys.
I really want to get a SIG. I want to get a 229.
So no one's going to ask because they're addicted, but why not a fan of CZ?
Oh, I love CZs. I absolutely love CZs. I have two P07s, two P10s, 75B, Rami, and a Bren.
So you're not a fan of SIGs?
I don't find them comfortable to shoot.
Well, you said you weren't a fan of CZs.
Oh,
I'm a
fan of CZs. Yes, not a SIGs. I don't. So I apologize if I misspoke. Oh no, I'm a huge CZ fan. Huge CZ fan. I drive the other half absolutely nuts about that.
My CZ says Dan wasn't specialist on it.
I don't know. I have a CZ75 compact, which I really like. It's comfortable to carry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little snappier than I expected. It's 9 millimeter, but all in all, it's been a good gun.
Mm-hmm. No, I haven't had any issues with mine. They've all been really good.
And Gary sent in a pic. He said a crystal pig to go with my thumbnail, which is the crystal mouse.
I like it. Speaking of gizzard, I had chickens flying around my living room today.
Why?
I've got chicks that still need to be under a
okay.
heat lamp.
He lives in a barn.
Gotcha.
Yes, 100%. And my coonhound likes to police them when they start getting feisty in the coop, and he doesn't try and eat them or anything. But when he does this, he'll knock off the top of the box, and apparently they've gotten to the point where they could actually do some flying. And it's like crap.
Mike McLuhan is saying when he thinks of shootouts, he thinks of the North Hollywood bank robbery incident.
So the North Hollywood was an interesting one. They actually made their own body armor.
Really? I knew they were wearing it, but I didn't know they made it themselves.
Yeah, they made it themselves, and it was actually covering more of their body than standard body, because they were actually covering their legs too with it. And if I remember correctly, you had LAPD had to go to one of the gun shops to get additional weapons because they didn't have enough firepower with them at the time. So they had to get additional firepower.
Yeah, I remember watching that.
Mm-hmm.
And the bank robbers, they pretty much, they were kind of behind cars, but they were just wading in and firing.
Yeah. And that was a fluke when they got caught too, if I remember. Somebody actually saw something that seemed out of place and called it in. So they were able to get them as they were coming out of the bank. So that was interesting. So DM, I sent you in the Discord overnight. I sent you my my Bren baby.
Oh, okay, I'll call it up here in just a second. Oh. All right. Let me see if I can share it from here. Window. There we go. Oh.
So that was a few days. I think that was the day that I picked it up from Pistol Annie's over in Bonnie Lake.
I say that is also a country group.
Mm-hmm.
Did one of them just like open up a gun shop? That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, living in Tacoma. Yeah, same. We're in Tacoma. And anything near Hosmer is bad. At least during 2020 and 2021, the city council did not defund the police like Seattle did, but the state legislature here in Washington kind of tied all the law enforcement hands with that one bill that was for the police accountability. That bill is bad. The bill that was put through the legislature this year, that was supposed to correct the issues, will not do that.
Yeah, I had a friend who lives in Lakewood.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me, this was years ago, that the police went through Hilltop and pushed all the gang members out, and it pushed a lot of them down into Lakewood.
Yeah. Now Hilltop has a bad homeless, bad meth and homeless population right now. So the city's not really doing, Victoria Woodward is not doing much of anything on that. nor is the other guy who's from that area. They're being really bad on it.
Yeah, I've only been there twice
Mm-hmm.
to Hilltop, because the Delta camshafts used to be at the
Mhm.
bottom of the hill.
Yeah. And we just drove through there tonight for dinner. On our way to dinner, we drove through Hilltop because we're over towards the north end. Yeah, Lakewood. At least Lakewood has Arrow now.
What's it say? Cops was filmed there for a reason.
Yeah, probably. Probably. And not seeing anything on. But, and all I know is that with my work, we're not going back into the office after hours for a while. It's a little too dangerous.
Yeah, I don't like to go out at night anyways. If it were up to me, I probably wouldn't leave the house after like 4 o'clock.
We're usually not too bad. But some of the areas, it's just, and it's a shame because Tacoma is really starting to turn towards a lot of the Seattle problems are starting to show up here. And that's a shame.
Well, I think that's happening in a lot of cities.
Oh, I think it is. I think it's getting pushed out of Seattle and it's just spreading through. And this goes to the prosecutors who are not prosecuting cases that they should be. And it's like the police, their hands are tied. They're not the ones that prosecute. But when you have some of the individuals in Seattle who have 70 to 80 cases for a rap sheet, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, I was talking to an officer last year. I think it was last year. It was after the new laws were passed and all that. And basically, he told me they're not going to show up unless they know they're going to be able to arrest somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's even with that, depending on what type of crime it is, they're not going to show up. And this also goes back to, it's like they're always telling kids and everyone else, it's like, I remember when 911 became a thing, when they say like, oh, you don't have to remember the actual station's number anymore. You can call 911 and they'll help you out and everything else. You just have to have your address by your phone. And this is before they had the automatic, before they had the system set up to where that it would populate where your address was. And so everyone was taught, it's just like you just dial 911. And then lo and behold, they never reminded people that the police don't have to respond to your 911 phone call. But the law that they have now is above and beyond that. This is where they're not even going to show up. And that's a little bit different.
Yeah, it gets frustrating. With work, when I've called, and I had the last time I had an officer call me on my cell phone and say that they were on their way. They never showed up.
Yeah. And when you have individuals such as Moms Demand and Everytown and everything else coming through, and they say only the police should have guns, well, that's great if they show up. But don't expect it. It's not going to happen to anyone.
Yeah, what's it saying that the Pierce County Sheriff sent out a letter
Yeah.
saying that
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. And there was another one that had sent that too, and I think it was one of the city police that had sent that they're not going to respond. It might have been Federal Way, or Kent, or Renton, or Burien.
I know. Before I got booted from Facebook, I used to watch, or I was a part of the Chelan County group, and yeah, the sheriff department and the police department did a 2-hour live stream talking about all that going on, and pretty much under the new law, even if they know that the vehicle just committed a crime, they cannot chase it.
Yep.
Unless it's a violent felony.
Yeah, Federal Way. Thanks, PNW Woods. I knew it was one of the King County cities that had stated that. And yeah, northern Pittsburgh's gorgeous. It's beautiful up in that area because you're getting up towards Erie and everything. But Pittsburgh has some issues. Not as bad as Philadelphia right now. So Philly's been absolutely insane lately. They're already in mid triple digits for firearm fatalities this year.
well, it's just because they don't have strict enough firearm laws.
Yeah.
If they had made it more illegal,
Yeah.
that would solve the problem.
Definitely. And at least if all those firearm laws actually worked, California and New York City would be having no issues whatsoever at all. None whatsoever.
Chicago would be like a heaven if just the firearm laws work.
Yeah. That in Baltimore and Bayamon in Puerto Rico. Same thing. They have very strict. I think I know it's changed within the last 2 years, but in order to get your concealed pistol license in Puerto Rico, it used to be close to $2,000 plus testing and almost 2 years for processing.
Makojo, since you mentioned that, Makojo just sent me something that in Maryland, I don't really know where, but somewhere back east, it costs like $5,400 for the guy and his wife to get 49 states, not quite just CCW, but to get basically national reciprocity as much as you can get. I think it's like Minnesota or something.
Probably the Utah license.
Well, no, but I mean, you have to get a couple because it's like Oregon and Minnesota. There's a couple of states. Oregon, it's because the sheriffs give out the CCWs and they want to see you. And in Nevada, it's like that, but it's also not like that. So in Oregon, it's only like that. And I think it's Minnesota, something similar. Because I remember for me, it would have been extraordinarily annoying to have to get like a whole nother state, out of state, non-resident CCW to get a state that I'm not even going to travel to, just to kind of say I had as many states as possible.
Right.
But still, yeah, to be able to travel the same way that a retired law enforcement officer, it would cost you about $2,500, $5,000 for a couple.
Yeah.
In 2022, who knows if that's going to go up or down? Probably goes down because usually the CCW rates go down. It seems like over time.
They usually do because a lot of people don't renew, and a lot of people just go through a process. I believe one of the guys who is either through Bearing Arms or Ammo Magazine, they had ran an article where they did a survey and they found out that people just weren't renewing it. And some of them like, why am I having to renew something that I can open carry in Washington. I'm not going to renew it, or they couldn't get in to renew it because they had let it lapse, and they needed to get during the lockdowns and everything. They couldn't get in. So I know now they're talking about doing a mandatory class in order to get your CPL. That's one of the reasons why, or no one takes our actually, we do have people who take our permits. There are 6 states who honor Washington reciprocity, but there's some weird rules with it on how it does its on the ages and things like that. I know Nevada dropped Arizona when Arizona no longer did the class, and then Arizona went, I think, did Arizona go constitutional carry? I don't remember.
Yeah, we were like the second state in 2010, but
Yeah.
they got rid of us when
You dropped the class requirement.
no, it was when Arizona doesn't have a picture anymore.
Oh, okay.
And then Nevada required a picture, I think, or something like that. I forget. It was something like that, though. They've kind of fluctuated back and forth. I think we're good on them now. I think it's good again.
Yeah, I think it's because of that. I know Washington, it's a very small amount, but Washington does have reciprocity. It's not many, but they do have reciprocity. And I don't know with the few states that have gone to constitutional carry. Oh yeah, hardly anyone. That's true. With some of the states going to constitutional carry, if that still matters. But the reason why they're fighting now here in Washington for the class is because several of the states who used to have classes for obtaining your CPL no longer doing that. Texas being one. Texas used to be a mandatory class, and with constitutional carry coming through, it no longer has that. So that's how they're fighting on it. They're intentionally being deceptive in their language on the classes no longer being mandatory. They're being very, very deceptive in their language. The reason why it's gotten fewer for mandatory on that is because constitutional carry, which is a violation. I think it's Mitchell v. Oregon, which is the requirement to take a class or a license to register to vote. And that also happened down during Louisiana, during the Black Codes, during not the Reformation, but after the post-Civil War time. And that's when you had some of the Deep South putting
Antebellum?
Not antebellum. This was after that. Antebellum is before. So these were the Black Codes and everything else, and these were the literacy tests that were placed on individuals. You had to pass a literacy test to register to vote or to show that you knew how to vote. So that was a mass thing with that. So, and that was one of the things where you had individuals coming through and saying, like, and these tests were absolutely insane with what some of the stuff was. And this is where, because they pushed this through, that's why the whole thing of saying it's mandatory to take a class to exercise a right. This all came out of the voting rights. And this is the argument that you use for fighting against purchasing a firearm, is coming through the it's like, nope, it's not doing it because you're forcing an individual to prove that they have competency and everything else in order to exercise their right. That was blown apart during the post-Civil War time, and where that came through. I'm trying to see if I can find that specific case. There's a really specific case on that. For that. Oop, wrong one. Yeah, and I believe it's Oregon v. Mitchell v. Oregon, I think, on that. Going through my massive notes on these things. I need to get them reorganized.
Well, guys, you guys have a great night. I'm going to bail out.
Have a good night.
Thanks for jumping in.
Adios,
Oh,
G23.
you're welcome. Yep.
That's not Wilson.
What are we looking for?
The case out of Oregon where it shows for voting rights you cannot mandate any kind of testing for voting rights. I really need to organize my Evernote notes for this.
Yeah, Oregon v. Mitchell was lowering the voting age.
Mm-hmm.
So, Foss, did you ever say what your favorite TV show, Car Chase, was?
Oh, for Car Chase, I don't know for TV. Oh, darn it! That was supposed to be a poll. I forgot to do the poll. Yeah. Let me. I got to get back over to the YouTube side. Find where I put the YouTube side. There we go. So I'll put up a poll here. All right. And that one there. Oop, there we go. And and what's another one? Oh, no, up. Going there. Oh yeah, it's only if I can only do 4. So let me change this one. There we go. Oh, no, that doesn't work. I got to remember cars from the 80s. What would be? So I've got 3. I need 1 more. What would one
What do you
more
got?
be? AT Van, Automan in car form, Kit from Knight Rider.
Yeah, I was going to say Kit.
What's one more?
The orange one.
The Dukes of Hazzard, General Lee.
Or, yeah, one of the other cars in that show, I guess. But yeah, that's probably the one that is the most iconic.
All right. So as soon as it pops up out there, then I'll. So we've got best 80s TV vehicle, which should be car, not vehicle. But the A-Team van. That's hard to say, A-Team van. Automan, if you remember Automan in car form.
No.
The General Lee.
What is that? What is Automan?
He was kind of a living I don't know if he was a program where he could change into different vehicles. So he could be a car. He
Was
could
it
be
real life or a cartoon?
No, it was real life. Or he could be a helicopter, a motor. I think he did a motorcycle too. And they filmed it kind of at night so that he would light up better. I'll look him up here.
Was that on like a normal channel or was it like
Yeah.
on cable or something?
No, it was. I don't remember what channel it was on, but why don't we do this? Go there. Yeah. Okay, let me share this one, and then I'll show you the intro, and we'll see if I get copyright strike. Go tab. Out of
Or
man.
just say that you're doing it for educational purposes, which would satisfy the copyright requirements.
Maybe. Depends on how they want to. Plus, I'm showing somebody else's YouTube video, but who cares? So here's the intro.
Looks like Tron or something. This is the guy?
Yeah.
What? What?
I don't ever remember seeing that.
I remember that part for some reason. Desi Arnaz Jr.
This looks terrible.
I had that same.
Wasn't very good, but I still watched it.
Watch this show
because this was around the same time as like Manimal.
This is when they were first using toasters to get this kind of graphics onto a screen. Those are all vector graphics, and then like a toaster. Oh man, that's pretty awesome. I do not remember watching this. I had to be too old to watch this, I guess. What year was this?
Ooh,
this had to be when Manimal
83.
No way I was watching television when this was on.
I wasn't watching that, definitely.
Yeah, all the.
I almost remember the part where he goes through into the street, but that would also be remembering Tron, I guess.
All the vehicle shots. It's all at night so that the blue would show up better.
Yeah. That's a sweet show. How many?
And
for 3 seasons? No way.
Copyright strike. Goddamn Bacon is saying the General Lee, he'd rock that classic ride, even though it's mostly black and love. City where it might be frowned upon.
You'll probably get the copyright strike, but I doubt you'll
people
get the
really
channel strike.
Do people think that General Lee though is racist? I mean, I know the flag and stuff, but like people leave the General Lee alone, don't they? They know it's TV.
Well, it's just
Not anymore.
now it's be offended at what the woke movement is a race to see who can be the offended first and then offended the most. So it doesn't matter if it's racist or not.
They don't even show the show on TV anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I mean, it definitely couldn't have nothing more. It couldn't have less to do with anything that like that.
Right.
Although I figured when I was a little kid that everybody in the South was pissed that they won. They thought they lost the Civil War. That's why they put that flag on everything. So, I mean, that's always been there, I guess. And it's not like I just came up with that out of nowhere. Somebody had to tell me that when I was a little kid, right? Or like it had to come from somewhere.
Well, if we killed the chat, fine.
Yeah.
No.
I think so.
The poll, everybody's got to vote on the poll or something. I'm not really.
Yeah, we've got 4 votes on the poll, so I was hoping to get a couple more before I closed it, but I don't know. 'Cause,
It's lame that they give the host a link directly to the video in StreamYard, but they can't give it to us. Like, oh, it's too difficult to give it to the guests who are in the same show. Like, I have to go find it and all that. So,
I just posted it in the private.
oh, thanks, lazy Canadians. Oh, it would be so hard to put that same button on everybody's thing. Literally be easy as hell. I'm pretty sure I got the slowest YouTube in the world.
No, they've been a little slow. There've been a lot of stuff going on with them. So I just found one of my notes on international mass killings. I have a lot of stuff like that for when people say that only the United States has problems with it.
yeah, I honestly think there's something going on with the internet. There's some sort of restructuring, I don't know, so they can watch us
There's a lot
more
of
easy.
there's a lot of maintenance going on right now.
Because there's the I don't know how to put it into words. They're watching me. I know they're watching me. I can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So when they had when they had the telephones back in the day, you know, they would do things, and then at some point the government was like, "Hey, we need to, like, whatever, the gangsters or whatever, right? Like, hey, we need to wiretap for once in a while." So at first it was no big deal. They had that old tape recorder, and you had eventually at some point a universal plug that everybody used for a microphone, right? And then the AT&T would just say, "Hey, we're changing our stuff around, but as long as we leave this plug here, then the government can just come in at whatever level, state can come in and wiretap when necessary without having to whatever," right? And that's how I understand it having developed, that as technology developed in telephone technology and the government had an interest to occasionally wiretap so that the government wouldn't have to catch up and learn all this technology, the phone company used to just leave a tap, like literally like a microphone jack that the government could use, and they'd have to, back in the old days, send somebody over with a recorder, I'm assuming, and literally plug it in. You fast forward to when it's more like electronic instead of physical copper wires and all that, and technology changes pretty quick. And at some point in there, this is at least how I understand it, the government and the telecoms basically said, "Hey, we're just going to always leave you the equivalent of that 1/4-inch jack so that you'll always be able to listen when you need to for a court order. And then that way you won't have to always worry about our tech, and you'll definitely never need to know our proprietary information. You'll just have this jack. Trust us." And everybody was fine with that. And then when the internet comes along, that's where the Patriot Act is just, "Hey, we just kind of need that jack for the internet." And everybody was like, "Yeah, sure. We're used to having that, and here you go."
It's a bit more different than that.
All the communication equipment, it probably is still the same, but that would be sent overseas, all had back doors and ways to disable them. The government mandated that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They left the door so that you could always, no matter how the technology changed or how they changed their internal proprietary stuff, the government could just come in and say, "We're just going to sit in this chair and listen, make it so that we can do that."
I guess I'll go ahead and end the poll. And so we had 57% said the A-Team van. So a lot of love for the van. 28% for the General Lee, 14% for Kit, and probably nobody else was aware of what Automan was.
Well, Automan is a man, not a car. So
Yeah.
right there. Kit is a robot, not a car. So right there. General Lee is a car with its doors welded shut, and it didn't even have a backyard or back door, or what I'm trying to say, back seat. And the the trunk was probably always full of
Moonshine.
So evil. So the shocks were probably worn out on it. Plus, you see the way they jump over. The kids are yahoos. Nobody wants that car. The A-Team van, like BA's constantly working on it. It's probably got all kinds of cool welded stuff underneath of it. It's good to go. No brainer.
All right.
Gonna have to agree on that one.
So I think that'll bring us to a close for the evening. So once again, if anybody is aware of any self-defense shooting involving 10 rounds or more, where a person defended themselves with 10 rounds or more, please email that story to Sharon Hinchcliffe. Her email, once again, is in the description and earlier in the chat.
Yes, thank you all for that. I really appreciate that, and I hope everybody has a good night.
And hang on here just one second. Since G-Webs is here, we'll play this. And if Rob was here, I would play this. But he's not here, so I'm not going to play it. Baron, you have anything before we close her down?
Nope. I got nothing. It's been a boring new week. Nothing on my end.
Sometimes that's good.
Yeah, it was nice compared to last week. Last week got real interesting.
The Chinese saying that "may you live in interesting times" is actually a curse because the Chinese don't like change. So that's a good thing sometimes. But everybody out there that watch this live or will have been watching this in replay. Will have been watching this in replay. Thanks. There's a link to the Discord if you want to come kind of hang out, post memes, gorn, chit chat, whatever. I don't know, place hang out to commune with other gun lovers. And did I cover everything that I'm supposed to cover? I don't know. Someday I'll get.
We got the overnight this Saturday night / Sunday morning. Check that out.
Next.
No, wait, next.
Yeah. Not this Saturday night, Sunday. Week after. Mm-hmm. It's only twice a month because I'm a slacker. But appreciate everybody participating, hanging out. And let me get back over here before we close on. Hope everybody has a good evening.